on DAZN.
People, it is day 2 of the Esports World Cup fight week, and you know what that means. Day 2 is the media public workout, where we get a little tease of what we can expect on Saturday night. Remember, that Saturday night main event, Moses Itauma takes on Dillian Whyte, the body snatcher.
Future of the heavyweight division rolls on undefeated.
I'm called the brightest prospect, or whatever I'm called. It is just noise.
It's Moses Itauma's time.
It's just step by step, fight by fight.
Moses Itauma makes it look so easy.
If you're gonna ask me like what's my plan in this division, is to knock Dillian Whyte out, I guess.
Itauma wins in devastating fashion.
Going in with somebody like Dillian, who's got a wealth of experience and at the top level and so forth, would be a really big test for him.
Today gonna say that you're the best, tomorrow might say you're the worst.
You know, I ain't got nothing to prove to no one. All the pressure is on him.
Here we go again, the bright lights of Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. It is day 2 of the Esports World Cup fight week. Day 2, as you guys know, is the media workout. It's a place, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. We've had some upsets. We've seen some superstars at Made. Will we have one on Saturday? Before that, the fighters will make their way into that ring there to give us a little glimpse of what we can expect come Saturday night. I've got a couple of superstars in the studio with me as well. 2 former world champions, Barry Jones and Darren Barker. Barry, I'll start with you. Dillian Whyte looks good physically, and I guess we'll see it today, right? If he takes his top off, he's looking really good.
He is, yeah, and he's walking around with a man with plenty of problems and issues with different people, me included, and you as well, let's not forget that. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think he needs that bit of everyone's against me feeling on him, and he looks in great shape. I'm not sure if losing all that weight's a good thing or a bad thing. I think at his age, maybe he needs to be a little bit more mobile. Certainly against the time when he's going to need that. It's all with what he's got left. If he's got 80% of what he had at his peak, then he's a problem for Itauma, because Itauma hasn't boxed nowhere near that level yet. Dempsey McKean, of course, was a good test, but an inexperienced guy who was a big lump and ambitious. But in Dillian Whyte, he's got a guy who knows how to handle not just a fight scenario, the whole fight week, big fight occasion, the spotlight. So he has that advantage there. If he can drag, I think he should start now with Itauma. He should be on his case right from now. Forget about everything else. Be on his case now. Try and get him unsettled. I think that's a hard ask, but that helps come fight night. If there's any doubts for Itauma, he's been sowing the seed.
Very quickly, on that Dillian Whyte weight transformation, I guess one thing that does tell us is how serious he's taken this. It's not an Ebenezer Tete fight, it's not a Christian Hamer, it's not anyone before that, Jermaine Franklin. His physical appearance at least tells us he's locked himself away in camp and he's got into the best nick he possibly can get into.
And that's pride, Ade. You know, he doesn't want to lose to this man. He wants to still fulfill his dreams, and it shows the ambition that he's got. He's a very good fighter, and this is perhaps the test, the opponent he needs to get the best out of him. But he's in there with a man that not only physically, technically, tactically is on point. What we heard yesterday was so impressive. You know, a man that is diligent in his preparation. The man leaves no stone unturned. He's a sponge, soaking it all up. And as Barry said, it could be game over for everyone else because he's ticking all the boxes. You know, he's a very, very good fighter. I look forward to, if we have Ben Davison up here later, just asking the question, what makes you, from what you've seen in the gym, believe that Moses Itauma, if it does get tough in there, which it possibly could in those later rounds, what have you seen from Moses that makes you believe he can pass that test? There's so many questions here. It really is a crossroad fight, but it's a fantastic fight.
Yeah, it's a fight that's sort of built up since it was announced. I think everyone was kind of like that with it. All of a sudden, everyone was like, okay, we need to see this one. Co-main event, Nick Ball versus Sam Goodman. Nick Ball on a tear at the moment. He enjoys it here as well, right? He won his world title here against the great Raymond Ford, who's coincidentally on this card as well. He had that draw against Ray Vargas. He is one of the best featherweights on planet Earth. That's fact now.
Yeah, it's a great division, by the way. There's some really good fights for him to be made, but he's been fantastic. He really has. I mean, he's got more skill than what people give him credit for. Of course, the strength, the weight of the shot, the relentless pressure, the work rate is all things that you see. But how he closes that distance from A to B so quickly for a short fella is amazing. And also, like I always talk about it, that semicircle around your body, he dominates that space with great footwork. which means he can throw, and when you look to throw back, he's this side or that side of you. And he does it, and he stays nice and low, so he's hard to hit clean. He's a real problem.
Yeah, look, I mentioned this as it's Esports World Cup. Do you ever remember the game James Bond, GoldenEye?
The film, yes. The game, no.
The game?
No.
Right, well, Oddjob was one of the characters.
Okay.
And he was very small, obviously, Oddjob.
Okay,
And he was very, very
no.
hard.
He was very
He was
small.
very hard to shoot. And what he does is, the comparison there, Nick Ball, he uses his height disadvantage, as you like, as an advantage.
I'm going to tell him you're doing that.
Yeah. How low? He's not 3 foot, Darren. I mean, he's 5'2".
Sorry, Nick.
Good luck.
Sorry. But he uses it as a very good advantage. He's very tough, very busy, but he's hard to now clean. And he's in a good division. There's some big fights out there. You know, if he wants to move up, move down. But yeah, great fighter.
Let's have a look at the featherweight rankings. Obviously, Nick Ball sort of climbing that title. But when you look at that chart there, Sam Goodman number 5. I mean, his last fight was barely a featherweight fight because he came in just between the 2 weight classes. That's quite lofty.
These are the WBA rankings for this title. But there's an understanding there that, listen, you're not a featherweight, you're a super bantamweight. You're the mandatory challenger, I think he was, for that title. So, I mean, you fight one fight at featherweight will put you in a decent rank. That's all that is there. That's to make the fight legit. But he's a good fighter. I mean, he's a very good fighter. A lot of the things he does well, Darren, could cause, I think, Nick Ball problems.
Yeah, fundamentals. He works off of those really, really well. He's got a fantastic base. Can go forward, can go back. He's got a fire in his eyes. Nice jab. He's got quick hands. So he has everything required to climb up those rankings. And I'll tell you what, to cause Nick Ball lots of problems.
Yeah, I think you said it yesterday. All the B sides in here, you can make an argument for the B side beating the A side. That's how competitive this fight card is. Let's show you that fight card as well. Remember, Nick Ball is co-main event against Sam Goodman, who kicked things off in the super featherweight division. Mohamad Alakil, newly trained now by Abel Sanchez, takes on human Santhosh Singh. Raymond Ford, who had that great fight against Nick Ball, now a super featherweight, takes on Abraham Nova. Philip Hergovic versus David Adeleye. What a fight that is, by the way, so intriguing. Hayato Tsutsumi against Kez Ashfaq. Hayato Tsutsumi unbeaten on a tear, as is Nick Ball, who a lot of people think is running towards that Inoue fight. Has to look good and get past the unbeaten Sam Goodman. And this main event is so intriguing. Old Lion versus Young Lion. I know didn't like me calling him an old lion, but he takes on Moses Itauma. Main event winner likely to get a world title shot. That's how big that fight is. It isn't just this on August 16th. We've got so much boxing coming your way on DAZN in the coming weeks and months.
Hey, listen up. Let's have it. We know you've always got your eye on the prize, the championship belt. And why wouldn't you? You're a finely tuned, well-oiled boxing watching machine, capable of consuming over 185 fights on DAZN every year.
We've gone big, we've gone global.
Churning through combinations, comebacks, and non-stop knockouts. With big fights every week, you're the best in the world. So go on, get that belt, champ. DAZN, undisputed.
Undisputed indeed. So many good fights coming up. MVP got a couple of big shows. Jan-Paul Rivera takes on Daniel Bailey. That's coming up Friday, August 22nd. It's Saturday, August 23rd. Great fight. Jack Rafferty versus His Excellency's favorite fighter, Mark Chamberlain, who's still trying to rebuild after that defeat to Josh Padley. And then we go back to America, another MVP show. Yankiel Rivera takes on Angeline Cordova, August 23rd. So loads of boxing. Make sure you check out the schedule for loads more boxing coming your way as well. All right, it's time to get the show on the road. Thomas Trivet is in the ring. Take it away, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the media workouts for Esports World Cup Fight Week as we get ready for World Championship Boxing this Saturday, August 16th from the A&B Arena in Riyadh, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We would first like to thank the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and His Excellency Chairman of the General Entertainment Authority GIA and Chairman of the Saudi Boxing Federation, Turki Al-Sheikh. This great event is being brought to you by Esports World Cup and the General Entertainment Authority GIA, with Frank Warren for Queensberry, Eddie Hearn for Matchroom Boxing, Spencer Brown for Gold Star Promotions, The Ring Magazine, and Sella, along with their great sponsors, STC, Kadia, SNB, Arena Fitness Innovation, and the Mike Tyson Boxing Club. A big thanks to those great sponsors. Well, a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, this great event will be broadcasted live worldwide on DAZN by now at DAZN.com. Let's now get the media workout started. Our first two fighters competing Saturday in a scheduled 6-round lightweight contest. We will first welcome, coming to us from Manipur, India. He brings a record of 3 wins, 6 defeats, with 1 win coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Yumnam Santhosh Singh.
Here we are, Santhosh Singh. We saw him yesterday making his walk for the grand arrivals, and he enjoyed the walk, and he was there posing, he was shadow boxing, and I can't imagine what this is like for him. I can't imagine, you know, the reaction when he gets the phone call to say he's going to be on this fight card, let alone doing what he's doing now, and he's going to soak it all up, isn't he?
Absolutely. Seize the moment, enjoy every second of this. You don't know if you're going to get an opportunity again. That phone call must have been incredible for this man. I look at his record, and yes, he's here as an opponent, obviously, for Alakil to showcase his skill. But one thing from his 6 defeats is he's never been stopped. So, you know, he shows he's durable. It's first time out of India as well. So, you know, what a great experience for him to be on this card. But he's got a lot to do.
Yeah.
He's got a lot to do on Saturday night.
But he'll be prideful, as you say. He'll be prideful. He's not going to stop. Yeah.
And we say this in every fight week when you get a journeyman like this on early in the undercard. Will they just fancy it for the first time? Yeah. Because it's a massive occasion.
I've got a couple of those wrong.
Joshua Ocampo was you.
Yeah. He tricked me, he did.
But will they just fancy, because it's a massive occasion, but will they just fancy, let me just go and prove what I can do? Because a lot of journeymen can't fight. And the reason they become journeymen is to earn money. They can't sell tickets, or their style's not good to watch, not fan friendly. So they earn money on the road. And they fight every week, and they earn good money, some of them.
It's funny you say that, because I think there are a lot of fight fans at home that maybe don't quite get that and understand that a lot of these journeymen, if they had a full camp and decided, you know what, I'll go for this, could cause a lot of problems, but they understand their role, and they understand, okay, if we don't get knocked out or knocked down, we can go again in a few weeks' time. They understand it. It would be nice to see one of them almost flip the script and say, okay, we're going to have a go here.
You used to get it, especially in the 90s, you get it, because they'd be all, in the UK, they get UK journeymen, they'd be based in the UK. So if you weren't very good, they couldn't have you beaten them. After a couple of rounds, they felt you were good, they go, okay, I'll tuck up and I'll accept it. If they didn't think you were very good, they would give it to you. And certainly, even if the last round or two, they would try and win those last couple of rounds, just to show you how tough it was. So you learned so much from them. And that's what they're there for. They're there for, it's a learning, it's a trade learning fight for Alakil, because this is such a hard, intense sport. Unlike any other, you need these fights to develop you when you go to a bigger test.
It's funny though, you know, I still think, albeit he has a losing record, a 3-6 fighter, I think it's still early stages to call yourself a journeyman. I think he'll still have ambitions to get the win on Saturday night. Don't get me wrong, he's limited when it comes to who he's facing as far as technical ability is concerned, but a 3-6 fighter isn't, in my opinion, yet a journeyman.
I think it is.
You know what's happening, right?
I'm not saying he probably won't turn into one.
He's doubled his losses.
But no, he's just obviously not very good. But that doesn't mean he doesn't have ambitions to win. Okay. Journeymen want to fight and be busy.
Thank you very much to you, Yumnam Santhosh Singh. And now let's welcome, from right here, Riyadh, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. He is undefeated with 4 victories. Let's welcome mighty Mohamad Alakil.
Young Mohamad Alakil making his way to the ring. A really good reception for him as well. A lot of pressure on the young man's shoulders, but he seems to be enjoying it. And look, we've all covered all of his fights. With Abel Sanchez as his new trainer, what are you now hoping to see that maybe you didn't see from Joe Gallagher?
Do you know what? I think a belief and a mindset, because what he's doing is really showing discipline away from his home comforts, you know, really disciplining himself and really sort of delving in and jumping in 2 feet into this sport. And that gives you a real big self-belief, knowing that you're making those sacrifices. Technically a very good fighter. And look, I think some fighters like that stability and having the same coach like I did from start to finish. There's that relationship, that bond and that trust that you have with a coach. And then on the flip side, there's more strings to your bow, learning more stuff, more techniques. And this man certainly is doing that. He's been very impressive. Gomez and Morales' last 2 fights look very, very good. And every single fight slowly making progressions.
Go on, sorry, Baz.
I think Joe Gallagher did a great job with him. I mean, from his first fight to his last fight, there was a vast difference in the way he sat down on his punches, believed in himself a little bit more, and he stayed safe, he kept his shape, and that's a Joe Gallagher trait. I think Abel Sanchez will have him be a little bit more risky, I would say. So he'll be looking for the finish a bit more. He won't be taking his time. I think he'll want to go stamp your authority, and rather than be sensible, and he'll be like, no, he won't be reckless, but he'll be, no, you got it, go for it a little bit more. So he might be a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, maybe that's the one thing that was missing, right? That punch power, maybe to sit on his shots. And some fighters don't have the punch power, but I guess you look at Abel Sanchez fighters over the years, and they like to hurt you, don't they?
I think, yeah, like Barry said, I think we might see him being a bit more offensive and really planting his feet. And that comes with experience. We know that, Barry. As time goes on, you start sort of slowing down your footwork ever so. Well, you never actually. You was like Tasmanian devil. Yeah.
But it's important to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. That's all. Whichever voice is in the corner, and because he's young and he's early in his career, the change won't be massive dramatic. He's not doing 10-rounders in title fights, and he hasn't got a massive bond because he's relatively a new professional. So the change will be massive for him.
He does fight on the Canelo Crawford undercard. He fights on that, and that's the first time fighting outside of Saudi Arabia as well. So I wonder what that experience is going to be like for him.
Yeah, it'll be just being on. I know we all know this. Being on as a young pro, being on massive bills, it gives you a little feel of what it's like to be a big fighter, a big name fighter. So it'll be great for his development.
Mohamad Alakil. Our next 2 fighters competing Saturday in a scheduled 10-round super featherweight contest. We will first welcome, born in Carolina, Puerto Rico, and now fighting out of Albany, New York, USA. He has a professional record consisting of 24 wins, 3 defeats, 1 draw, 17 of his 24 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the former world title challenger, Abraham Supernova.
Here we go, the first of the B-side banana skins. That's what I'm calling this man. This is a real challenge, I think, for Ray Ford. A former world title challenger. You heard Thomas Triber say that was in that fight against O'Shaki Foster, which he lost by split decision. Very, very big at the weight. and has got an opportunity. He's been waiting for this one because last year wasn't a good year for him. All of a sudden, 25 could be a fantastic year for him.
Yeah, I think so. I think with Nova, Dan said it to me off air yesterday. He said he reminds us of a former middleweight world title challenger called Howard Eastman because he had the same beard. And also, he's the same size. He's a massive. That's as big a super featherweight as you would find. He's huge. His legs might be thin. His shoulders are massive. He's tall for the weight. And also, he's a good fighter. You see the movement he got here. He keeps his shape all the time. His elbows are always tucked in nice and tight. He's an aggressive counter punch, and he forces you to throw. And if your hands don't come back fast, he's gonna beat you to it. He's gonna get his jab on your face before you get your hand back.
You know, when Kakache pulled out, obviously all of us were disappointed, especially for those back home wanting to see Kakache continue that run, and this would have been the acid test against Ray Ford. This is such a good substitute to come in.
It really is. I mean, as Barry said, he's a fantastic fighter, and he's got the bit between his teeth. You know, lost to Shaki Foster, split decision, very, very close fight. This man packs a punch from his 24 wins, 17 by stoppage. You know, the way he mixes it up to head and body, that fleet-footed movement that you can see, an aggressive counter-puncher, always looking to make his opponents pay. Very accurate as well, and I think that's where a lot of his stoppages come from. This man fancies it, I'm telling you.
You can tell
really
by how sharp
it.
he's doing this, isn't it? I mean, you know, he's obviously cutting weight, and you think that they'll take it easy. He's like, no, I'm using this as a workout.
The thing is that he's been in big fights. He's boxed a lot of different styles. You know, Robsy Ramirez for one. You know, he's boxed some really good fighters. He might come up short, but he's given them all a run for their money. A Shaki Foster. So the speed of Ford, he'll think he's faced that before. The ability of Ford, he'll think he's faced that before and come close. So this is not a daunting task for him. I think it's a hard ask, but in his mind, he's been in with fighters he would argue are better.
When I say A side, B side, obviously Ray Ford is the A side, he's the favourite. How big a favourite is it? Are we talking 60-40? How close is this?
I think a little bit more than that. I do think he's a bit more than that, but this is the livest underdog on the bill, in my opinion.
And now let's welcome to the ring, coming to us from Camden, New Jersey, USA. He brings a professional record consisting of 17 wins, just 1 defeat, 1 draw, 8 of his 17 wins coming by way of knockout. Ranked number 9 by Ring Magazine, he is the former WBA featherweight champion of the world, Raymond Savage Ford.
I don't think, although we just heard Thomas Triber say ranked number 9, I don't think there are 8 better super featherweights in the world than Raymond Ford. It's a great division, some really good names in it.
But he hasn't boxed that. You know, this is the show for him. This is a show he'll jump up for if he beats Nova, I think, because he's new to the division. But I think he's looked fantastic in the 2 fights he's had. He's looked absolutely fantastic. I think this long overdue the move up. He looks stronger. He's more aggressive. I mean, he's always tried to be too aggressive, I thought. But now it looks like it suits him, doesn't it, Darren?
Yeah, and look, I think that's why we enjoy it. When we see his name on the card, you know you're going to see excitement because he probably does more than he should at times. But we, as fans, really enjoy it. But, you know, 2 shutout wins in his last 2. He's feeling strong, he's confident, and I think he feels he's got something to prove to himself. And a very, very good fighter. There's some big, big fights out there for him as well.
Yeah, the big one is obviously Shaki Foster, who was supposed to fight Stephen Fulton on that Javante Davis, Lamont Roach 2 card, and he's desperate to get in the mix with those 2 guys very quick. I knew he would be out of the ring as quickly as humanly possible.
He wasn't happy yesterday, that's for sure, was he? I would say one thing though, the hand speed won't bother Nova. I think the feet of Ford is the key for him, in and out with the feet, throwing punches, jumping back out of distance and then straight back in again. I think that's going to be the difference here. But it's a tight one, I'll tell you that much. It'll be a good fight to watch this.
Savage Ford. Our next 2 fighters competing Saturday in a scheduled 10-round contest. It will be for the WBO International and vacant WBA Continental Gold Heavyweight Championships. We will first welcome the challenger from London, England. He has a professional record of 14 wins, just 1 defeat, 13 of his 14 wins coming by way of knockout. He is the former British, English, and WBO European heavyweight champion, Big D, David Adeleye.
I see David Adeleye making this walk, and the phrase that comes to mind for me is opportunity knocks.
Yeah.
This is a massive opportunity. Some may say it's one he don't deserve, considering that, you know, it was a British title fight against Jimmy TKV on the cards a couple of months ago, sorry. Here we are now. If he wins, he's in the world title mix. This is how big an opportunity this is.
It really is, and I want to see him fight like that on Saturday. I really want to see him grab this fight by the scruff of the neck, really put it on Hergovic. He's a big puncher, he really is. At a level, yes, but I still believe he can punch up at this level. But there's so many opportunities in this division where it's looking for his next stars. He goes in and puts a very good performance in against Hergovic.
But also, I think he can be a star. I mean, if he gets the ability to match it, he has a great personality, as we're finding out here. He's a fantastic talker. There's a job for him in boxing after he fights, by the way. And look at him cheering up the crowds here. And I also think, with Adam Booth in his corner, those fast twitch movements, which takes a lot of energy, I think that's the right thing that's going to work well against Filip Hergovic. Whether it's enough, I'm not quite sure, to be honest. But I think that sort of fast twitch fight, you know, really throwing from the hip and committing to every shot is what he needs to do.
Yeah, I just don't want him to be lazy in this. I really want him to seize this opportunity, give it everything. Look, if Hergovic is the better fighter and gets the win, at least you can go back to the changing room and say, I gave it my all and I got beat by the better man.
Are there still question marks over Filip Hergovic? Yeah. I mean, going into that Dubois fight, it was a massive favourite, and we were like, okay, this is the boogeyman of boxing and all that kind of good stuff. Is he as good as we still think he could be, Hergovic?
I think he could be as good as we think he is, and I hope he's learned from his defeat. You know, I hope he comes back. He's got that win last time out against Joe Joyce. So look, I think the world is still there.
And now let's welcome the defending champion from Zagreb, Croatia, a 2016 Olympic bronze medalist, now as a professional, has 18 wins, just one defeat, 14 of his 18 wins coming by way of knockout. Ranked number 6 by Ring Magazine this Saturday, he will be the reigning and defending WBO International Heavyweight Champion. Here is Filip El Animal Hergovic.
El Animal Filip Hergovic making his way to the ring, 33 now. And I remember him as a young man when he was brought in by David Haye to get ready for that fight against Tyson Fury that never happened. And everyone was like, okay, who is this machine that's going toe-to-toe with Wilder? And they're kicking the you-know-what out of each other. And I still feel like the best is yet to come, but at 33, time is running out.
Time is running out, that's true, you're right there, it's a valid point. But he's the sort of guy who's been told he's brilliant from day dot. And his potential to be very, very good. He just believed it and thought, I don't have to train. And he has loads of talent, by the way. I think his talent is underestimated. And he is tough, and he got a great chin. He ticks so many boxes to be a really world-class heavyweight. I thought he was really good against Joe Joyce. He showed that on the move with his back against the ropes, he can still be very, very effective against a guy who can take a good shot. And I thought he boxed brilliant. I mean, he's a good fighter. I don't think he was bad against Dubois either, to be fair. Dubois was just insanely tough that night. So there's a lot of, and also the cuts, not forget about the cut, the damage that stopped the fight. But he has to be fit and he has to be active, and if he can't get it right, and he's a massive favourite, and he's stepping down a level to what he's used to boxing, I would say, and Adeleye stepping up. If he can't get the win on Saturday, then I think his aspirations of fighting for a world title are taken, not over, but it's a massive dent.
Yeah, I agree. Look, he didn't have a full camp last time either, you know, against Joyce, and he showed heart, he showed courage, he dug deep and got the win.
What was that, a 10 or 12 rounder? 10 was it? Okay.
And look, he passed the test. He got the job done. There's still a future for this man, but he's got to win, and I feel he's got to look good in doing so.
But Darren, I wonder whether having a short camp made him train harder with the panic of not having enough time. I know when you got a big camp, you sort of leave it all too late sometimes, maybe. I mean, he just needs to be mentally switched on all the time.
All right, let's hear from Hergovic's trainer, Abel Sanchez, and the aforementioned Filip Hergovic as well. They're in the ring with Dev Sani.
Okay, Filip El Animal Hergovic. We know last time we saw you against Joe Joyce, you didn't have a big, long camp, but you still did very well. You won that fight. This time, big, long camp. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I feel much better. I did better camp that last time. So I feel better, I feel more confident, and yeah, can't wait for Saturday.
Let me bring you in, Abel Sanchez. You've had a full camp with Filip Hergovic. What kind of El Animal are we going to see on Saturday?
Definitely a lot better than we did the last time. We got the win, but we didn't look as sharp as we should have. He had a full camp. We had 8 weeks in Big Bear, so we're really looking forward to Saturday night and showcasing us.
What kind of challenge is David Adeleye?
Look, every fight is challenge, every fight is risk, every fight is most important fight in the life, and I did great preparation. I did everything what I do normally, and yeah, hopefully with God's help I win on Saturday and continue to becoming a world champion.
He said that he believes he has the power to knock out a horse, let alone Filip Hergovic. What do you say to that?
I'm more strong than horse.
Abel, just while I've got you, a quick word on Mohamad Alakil, your new charge. He looks like a great talent. How are you getting on with him?
Extremely well. I came to camp, and lucky we have a good leader in camp with Filip. A lot of the kids followed his lead. He trained very hard. The discipline is above and beyond anything I expected, really. His dedication to doing what we have to do is number one. So I look forward to a great career from him.
That's great to hear. Filip, final one for you. Are you ready to get down to business?
We had a million nights just like this, so let's get down to business.
Thank you very much. Best of luck.
Our next two fighters competing Saturday in a scheduled 10-round super featherweight contest. Let's first welcome to the ring from Leeds, West Yorkshire, England. He had a stellar amateur career, becoming a 2016 Olympian, and now as a professional has a record consisting of 13 wins, 3 defeats, 1 draw. 5 of those 13 wins come by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Kez Ashfaq.
Kez Ashfaq gloved up as well. We might get to see some pad work for the first time this evening. We've seen some big upsets since Riyadh season started in October 2023. Fury and Gardner, and it kicked off with the biggest of upsets. This would be a big one though, because everyone is very high on Tsutsumi, and Kez, let's be honest, he struggled a lot in the last 2 or 3 years.
But the thing, Kez is a really good boxer, actually a lovely boxer to watch. Yeah. And he's not afraid to have a fight either. The problem is he just doesn't have the strength. And I'm the perfect one to talk about that. But I mean, and the power to keep him away, and that's a problem. So when you don't have those things, you need to be really busy and you need to have a good chin. And there's the question. I'm not sure about how good his chin is. And you can, that's no one's fault. You've got all you haven't, a good chin.
So, look, he was stopped in the 5th against Masoud Abdullah, dropped 3 times in that round. Dillian dropped him twice. Dillian, a very aggressive fighter, but not the biggest puncher, and he's dropped twice in that contest. Don't get me wrong, he showed a lot of heart, though, and a lot of courage. It was a brilliant fight. It was a war. But when he lost, it was a close fight. I really believe against Tsutsumi here, he's really got to stick to what made him successful as an amateur. Don't get greedy. Sharp jab, in and out with your feet.
Do you know what, I think that's right. Sometimes everyone wants to, everyone's saying you've got to sit down on your punches, and I do understand that, but not always. I never. I mean, if it's a hard, every fight's a hard fight, I understand that. But if you haven't got the certain thing, I mean, it works, it's got to work for him, and if he sits down with his punches against Tsutsumi, he's going to be in trouble.
Who's the better boxer of the two?
It's difficult. Okay. It's because the better boxer knows the guy who's he's the more classically better boxer, because he moves and punches really well, but boxing, the punches are correct, but I don't know if he's the better boxer overall. He's up against a guy here who will suffocate your space, turn every punch over hard, and the pressure's immense. I think his chin, I think he tires very quickly. When you're tired, you're more vulnerable. And I think it might be due to his strength. So the strength training should probably be high on his list of priorities.
He did say to me, Daz, a couple of days ago, look, Ade, normally I get a 4-week camp, 5-week camp. He said I've had 10 weeks for this one. So this is the best Kez Ashfaq we're going to get.
Yeah.
This is it, isn't it?
With the opportunity as well, you expect him to fight out of his skin.
Looks in shape.
He does looks in shape.
Wow, looks really big, actually.
Yeah, and look, I just feel he's got to be completely switched on. You talk about the camp there, I think you've got to really feed off that, give yourself a lot of belief, Sam. But look, I held my own, I've done as good as I could with limited time. Now this is the best version of me. And if it is, this is a tough fight, it really is. We've said this, the underdogs in all of these fights are live dogs.
I almost feel like he's using this little media workout, this little 5-minute run to show us something as well.
He'll have a point to prove, because he knows what the things are being said about him, like they all do, and he'll want to go, listen, look at me, I'm in great shape, I'm ready for this, and this is all mind games. He'll think his opponent's watching this, that's the truth, and he won't be. But he's got to stick to, he got to believe in himself and stick to what he's good at.
Thank you very much to Kez Ashfaq. And now let's welcome, coming to us from Tokyo, Japan, a stellar amateur becoming a youth world champion, and now as a proud Ring Magazine ambassador, he is undefeated as a professional with 7 wins, 4 of those 7 wins coming by way of knockout. Let's welcome Hayato Tsutsumi.
Eastern Asia's always produced so many fantastic, talented boxers, but I would argue that the crop of boxers coming out of East Asia at the moment is the best it's ever been. I mean, it's incredible. And I mean, this is the new, younger guard, I guess, in Tsutsumi. We know who the old guard is, and he's not very old in the new way, Nakatani, but they've got so many talented boxers now.
If you go on BoxRec and you look at the schedule or results, there are shows all the time in Japan. They are fighting so regularly. They have a massive pool of fighters, Barry.
That's it. From Super Bantamweight down, take away Super Fly, and they dominate every other division.
They do.
They do. They really do. It's absolutely phenomenal.
They never used to, did they? It was always the Mexicans and the Filipinos. That kind of weight.
They've been always around like strawweight, light flies, and they always had, and sometimes featherweight and super featherweight, the odd fighter. But the problem is, the world's a smaller place, a more accessible place now, so they'd have the opportunity to see more of them. They would stay in their own little, they would stay where they were, in their own little lane, if you like. And they're good fighters. He's a good fighter. What they all are is technically very good. They all punch correct, and they're tough. I mean, crazy.
And they all punch.
They do.
They all like to punch as well.
4 of his 7 are by stoppage, and maybe not that one-punch concussive power, but very sharp, very accurate turns into every shot. And what I like about him, and you wouldn't really see it to the naked eye, but the subtle feints that he does. He's very intelligent. He's always trying to unlock his opponent and find those openings.
And Darren said about 4 of the 7. The 7, not one had. They all got winning records. Some undefeated fighters, and the last few fights, he boxed some really good fighters. Well, maybe at the end of their careers, but within 10 fights to have those tests already is absolutely phenomenal.
12-rounder in his first fight, 8-rounder in his first fight. It just shows the belief they have in this man, and he's ticking the boxes.
Another one, we spoke about Abraham Nova being big. I'm looking at him, and I know he's wearing a baggy t-shirt, but he looks big at super feather as well.
Well, he's boxed a few lightweights, hasn't he, already in his career, and I think boxed at lightweight, so it might be a struggle for him getting down in weight, which will help Ashfaq, of course, but I mean, he's a massive favourite. We can paper it up all we like. He's a massive favourite. Or if he does all he's got to do is just think, I know what to do. I just got to get this guy in the corner on the ropes, keep hitting him on the chest, stop the movement. If you can stop his movement, the fight belongs to him. That's the truth.
It's billed as a super featherweight. I'd be shocked if this isn't a 133 fight or something like that. Because you look at, as you say, you look at Hayato Tsutsumi's last fights, and he's at 133. It's 132. Yeah. He hasn't really fought at 130 for a long time. So I wonder if he'll be making that jump to 135 very soon. Because I'm looking at him now, and His legs look big, his back look big.
Yeah, and do you know what? I don't think Kez will actually mind that. I think boiling down for him is becoming a struggle. So, yeah, he does look big, you're right. But when he goes through the gears, as he just did there, he's a joy to watch. He really is. Fantastic fighter.
He just methodically, he methodically walks you down. I mean, he's always on you, and he got patience in his work as well.
Thank you very much to Hayato Tsutsumi. Ladies and gentlemen, our co-main event this Saturday, it is scheduled for 12 rounds, and it'll be for the WBA Featherweight Championship of the World. Let's first welcome the challenger from Albion, New South Wales, Australia. Undefeated with 20 wins, 8 wins coming by way of knockout. Ranked number 4 by Ring Magazine, let's welcome the undefeated world title challenger, Sam Goodman.
Another fighter coming out of this hotbed of Australian boxing right now, which is really producing some fantastic fighters, obviously led by Jai Patai, but so many beneath that as well. And I spoke to Sam a couple of days ago, and we spoke about those Inoue fallouts where he was scheduled to fight Inoue twice and couldn't do it. And he spoke about the financial burden of just the training camps and how important this fight is for him. Not just financially, but obviously it's a world title opportunity. But he struggled mentally with the block of those 2 fights. And he's taken this with both hands, he says.
Yeah, you forget about that, don't you? Because you're not playing for a team. You pay for everything yourself, your own pocket. And you gamble money you don't have. With the purse, and also the purse, then you think you're going to win, and there's money comes later on, of course. He's a good fight. You're going to see here now. Technically very, very good. He's an aggressive fighter, and I mean, I always think if you can push Nick Ball back, I'm not saying he can't box. If you can push him back, it takes away his main strength, which is his strength and his aggression, and he's jumping into the target. He's jumping into closing the distance. So if you can push him back, and Goodman likes to push you back, then he's got a half a chance, I think.
Yeah. A common opponent, TJ Dehenny. Sam Goodman a couple of years ago went 10 rounds with Dehenny, whereas last time out, Nick Ball, it was a tricky fight, but he got the job done.
All right, let's hear from Sam Goodman's trainer. He's ringside with Dev Sani. Dev.
Well, I've got Joel Keegan with me. Joel, I guess the first question is, this is a step up now to featherweight for Sam Goodman. How's he finding this extra 4 pounds to play with?
Oh, he's loved it. He's loved it. Yeah. Super bantamweight's a tough day, but no, we're loving the extra weight. So feel good, feel strong.
I've been following all of the YouTube, all the videos that have gone out. You all look so focused, so determined, like you are coming to Riyadh to take that title home.
Yeah, we're not here to play around. It's this kid's destiny, we thought we were going to do it 9 months ago, but we're going to do it now.
Nick Ball is a very unique featherweight. He is short, but he uses it to his advantage. How can you get around that?
By doing what we've always done. We'll be the bull, and sometimes we'll be the bullfighter, but we know how strong he is. We fully respect it, but we've got the skills to deal with it. So I think a lot of questions are going to be what Nick's going to do with us.
He actually said to me yesterday, Sam did, because I said, well, what's he going to do when a wrecking ball's coming towards him? And he said, I'll go right through it. Is that one of the options you feel is actually available to Sam?
100%, 100%. I understand the way we fight might not look like we're strong, but ask anybody that's fought us. We've definitely got the ability to stand and trade with Nick.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
I like that. That's good there. That's Joel Keegan, the trainer of Sam Goodman. Look, a very confident team, and you heard it there. We wanted it 9 months ago. We couldn't get that opportunity. We're going to take this one. And again, this is a very, very live B-side.
It is. I mean, he's a lot of good things. I mean, the fact that he want to try and push Nick Ball back, I think if his pass forward was anything to go by, and he can get success with that, then Nick's gonna have a hard night's work. But I would say with Goodman, there is a big gap. He keeps his hands high, keeps the shape really well, but there's a big gap. And I always say, when you're a small fighter coming up, looking up, you see a bigger gap.
Thank you very much to Sam Goodman. And now let's welcome the defending world champion from Liverpool, England, undefeated with 22 wins, 1 draw, 13 wins, coming by way of knockout. Ranked number 3 by Ring Magazine, and in his 3rd world title defense, let's welcome the undefeated, relentless, reigning and defending WBA featherweight champion of the world, Nick the Wrecking Ball.
Here we go, a man that's on a tear, and you heard me say it throughout the week. I've certainly said it yesterday. The only British male world champion we have on our shores. So a lot of pressure on him to continue that reign. But ultimately, look, he's got a career path planned out for him. And in the reverse is really good work. In front of him could be some really good stuff.
Yeah, and for that reason, I really want to see attributes like discipline and focus, you know, because it's all good having, you know, your sights on future opponents, but you've got someone like Sam Goodman who's so game and ready for this.
All right, let's hear from Nick Ball's trainer, Paul Stevenson. He is ringside with Dev Sani.
Okay, Paul Stevenson. Now, every time I speak to Nick Ball and ask him, have you seen any of Sam Goodman? He says, no, I don't watch him. I leave that to my team. So have you seen any of Sam Goodman?
Yeah, I've seen everything I can see. I always do, Dave, you know, studied him in great detail as much as we could. And yeah, so what I see is a good box fighter, you know, well-rounded. Be a good match.
Do you feel like this is a good test for Nick Ball? Because they are coming over with a lot of ambition and they really feel they're going to take that title back to Australia.
Yeah, obviously they'll be trying. It's very valuable. But Nick's one of them, isn't he? He can end up fighting the first round. He can end up fighting the 12th round. If this fella can live with what Nick's dishing out, then fair play to him.
Well, one of the things that they have actually said is they feel they can actually go through Nick Ball. I've not seen that before. Have you seen that before?
I've never seen that in any sparring. We've sparred Nick with middleweights and welterweights. I've never seen anyone do that before. So, again, if he can do it, fair play to him.
Best of luck.
Thanks a lot, Deb.
Ladies and gentlemen, our highly anticipated main event this Saturday will be Experience versus Youth. 10 rounds scheduled for the WBO Intercontinental, WBA International, and Vacant Commonwealth Heavyweight Championships. Let's first welcome the challenger from Brixton, London, England, and proudly representing his heritage of Jamaica. He has a professional record of 31 wins, 3 defeats, 21 wins, coming by way of knockout. Let's welcome one of the most prominent and charismatic heavyweights of the past decade and a former WBC interim world champion, Dillian, the Body Snatcher Whyte.
Here he comes, Dillian Whyte, the Body Snatcher, a man that this week has been a bit upset with a few things that media members have said, but I think that's added to his motivation here to put on a really good performance. He looks in fantastic shape, and Ben Davison's in the studio with us, trainer of Moses Itauma. And Ben, what Dillian Whyte do you prepare for then? Do you go back and look at 2018 Dillian Whyte? Do you look at Ebenezer Tete? Is it a catalogue of everything?
Too late now if we banked on him turning up that shape. You know, we'd be foolish to be taking the fight based off his last performance. and him coming in the same shape. It was never going to happen. As he said, he's had lots of things going on, lots of inactivity, but he's clearly got himself in shape. And I've said this time and time again, Moses Itauma is not the type of fighter where we have to bank on people catching people at the right time. He's good enough to mix with any of them at any point. And we're prepared for Dillian to turn up the best Dillian possible. And like I say, if we hadn't have done so, it's too late now.
And Ben, if it is the best Dillian Whyte that turns up, what problems does he bring on Saturday night?
You know, the same situations, all the same things that we've been talking about. This is experience, he's a big, strong guy, plenty of heart, can punch. He brings all of those things to the table, and that doesn't change no matter what condition he turns up in. Like I say, you know, people keep talking about if it goes into a dogfight. I've seen Moses. The young lad can fight up close as well, and you've got to have that in the locker. If you're going to mix at this level, you've got to have that in the locker, and he's got that in the locker. So if the fight goes that way, I wouldn't be shocked for it to still go as we expect.
What's it like training? He's obviously a precocious talent. What's it like training him and to hold back the leash? Because you have to. I mean, this is like a step up for him, but I mean, do you feel you just let it go, or are you being more sensible approach? Because you don't want to ruin him because there's a longevity there, isn't there?
Yeah, I would just say there's nobody that I think, oh, I don't like, you know, he's not ready for him, but it's risk versus reward.
Yeah.
And, you know, that fight might be just as tough as that fight, but that fight's got more reward with it. So I think there's that to it. But, you know, one thing I do want to say about Moses as well, and I'm sure you guys have had this through your careers, where people say, oh, talent, talent, talent. But you're hard workers. It's a lot of hard work that gets there. And hard work is talent himself. And he is one of the hardest workers that you'll come across. In the gym, outside the gym, studying the sport, making sure that he's remembering what he's learning session after session, and that's the real talent.
Not much of a media workout from Dillian Whyte. He's greeting who he needs to greet ringside. He's taking selfies, but we didn't get to see much. Well, what do you do in this 5 minutes? Do you kind of just tell Moses just to kind of let loose a little bit, hit the pads, or is it just make it up as you go along?
Yeah, I think he'll just do a little bit of shadow. You know, as you mentioned before about Dillian and the way he's behaved this week, I think there's an element of it where he's too long in the tooth now for the Dillian that you've seen before. He wasn't really like that with the Fury build-up either, if you remember.
True. Yeah, very true.
I think he's too long in the tooth. When you have seen him like that, there's been a bit of needle, you know, with the Chisoras and the AJs. You know, there's respect both ways, and it's business on Saturday.
And it will be good business on Saturday as well. How is Moses? I spoke to him yesterday and I was like, this is all new for you, Moses. You've been the undercard guy. You turned up on a Friday to weigh in. You've got in the ring on a Saturday. The requirements for him now, he's doing every bit of media. He was on Sky Sports. We've grabbed him a few times. He's done all the social media channels as well. How's he handling all that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but I was just having a conversation back there where he was chief support for one of the biggest cards of this generation, Usyk Fury.
Yeah.
That might have been just as much pressure as what he's seeing now. That was a huge card in his first real step up. So, do you know when you say someone's a natural fighter, it's water off a duck's back to him. And I thought that when he was chief support for that card, and I feel like that when I'm seeing it here this week as well.
All right, let's bring out your charge. Let's go to Thomas Schreiber to bring in Moses Itauma.
And now let's welcome one of boxing's rising stars, the defending champion, coming to us from Chatham, Kent, England, a stellar amateur, now undefeated as a professional, with 12 wins, 10 of his 12 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the hard-hitting, reigning and defending WBO Intercontinental and WBA International Heavyweight Champion, Moses Itauma.
Moses Itauma making his way to the ring. Ben, when did you know that you had something special? You know, we always say it with certain sports stars, right? Footballers, tennis stars, and there's always a point. When did you know that, okay, wait a minute, he's a bit different?
Yeah, I'd seen him before I worked with him. There's other people that put plenty of time on working into Moses as an amateur. He had a fantastic career. So seeing him as an amateur, I already knew he was a special talent. He come down the gym sparring, I could see that. And then once I got the chance to work with him and saw how hungry he was, how desperate he was to improve and be the best he can be, then I was like, okay, you know, and his ability to retain the information, and you know, he is a real special talent.
Ben, just want to touch on what you said earlier about if this does get hard and horrible. What is it that you've seen from this man in the gym that makes you believe he can dog it out?
Like, it's my job to have him prepared if the fight goes that way. And, you know, it's all right saying, oh, we want it to go this way, but you need to be prepared, you know, for things not to go exactly to plan. And I've brought guys in that and put him in situations where it's supposed to get tough, and he ends up backing them up. He ends up walking them down. He ends up battering them. And I think that's what you saw from Shakur when he boxed the other week against Zepeda. He's got that, and you need. It's okay being a great boxer, but you need to have that in the locker as well. And he's got that in the locker.
When this fight came up, it came across the table. Was it an immediate yes? Was there any reservations? Because there is a big jump from Mike Balogun.
Yeah, being honest, Dillian was one of the names on the list that we'd said, you know, we're up for, and you know, it just so happened that it ended up coming about. So no, it's a great step up for him. It's a great scout for him. It's a great test for him, and one we're confident that he's able to come through.
You know, I just see him there, I think, with Gareth A. Davis. He's growing, isn't he? I remember when I first saw him, I was like, you might not be big enough for the heavyweight division. All of a sudden, it was like he's grown a couple of inches and he's filled out a little bit as well. He's around 230, 240, isn't he? That's his weight now.
Yeah,
and they don't want to give it away, do you? Like,
no, like he's dense though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's so strong. I don't know if you saw on the behind-the-scenes stuff.
I did. The lifting the weights and stuff.
Yeah, he's so strong, and that's what I mean. I think people underestimate that element. Like, I know he's 20, but he's not a kid. Not far from it.
Ben, what's he like to train? I know to train one thing, but because he's a thought. We had him yesterday. He's such a thoughtful man. You can see why he has so much time in the ring, and he can think and he can digest the information. But what's he like in the corner? Does he listen to you, or is he thinking himself?
Very much so. He'll come back and he'll ask you questions. I tried to do this. I felt like, you know, I did this because I saw he was doing that. His ability to process is second to none, which is rare. Which at any weight is a great asset to have, but at heavyweight it's exceptional.
So he's thinking and getting the information off you as well.
Come back to you and say, I've tried to do this because I saw that, or I picked up on
That's
this.
brilliant.
And there's never a session where you ask him, I want you to do more of this today. There's never a session where he won't try to do that. And that's all you can ever ask for.
I don't like asking fighters this, but I'll ask you as a coach. If it does go to plan and he gets the job done and looks good, then what?
We're not looking at them. What, you know?
How dare you ask that question, Dan?
He's not a fighter.
We don't ask those questions.
We're solely focused on that. But what I have said already is there is not a fight where I would go, oh, I don't like that. We would just look at risk versus reward.
Not even Usyk, Ben.
I just think it's a win-win. What you know, you're getting a chance to face the best of a generation, if not the best ever, at the weight class. Like, I think it's a win-win. And as much as Moses hasn't shared the ring with somebody like Usyk, I truly, honestly don't think Usyk has shared the ring with somebody like Moses.
Can I ask you, this is an awkward question, Ben, so you can say, Ade, shut up. You've got a lot of heavyweights in your stable, and a lot of them are in the top 10. Is that awkward? Because there might be conversations about Moses versus any of those guys?
There's three.
Yeah,
and
3 good ones.
And I had the conversation earlier where the AJ Tyson with the Moses stuff, you know, they've shared a lot of information. He's took a lot from them. You know, AJ's texted me this week saying, if there's anything I can do, Moses needs anything and I can help, you know.
Nice.
And with Fabio, it's just a case if they're in the gym, so they're never gonna cross paths.
Yeah.
Did they spar?
They haven't sparred, to be honest, just because
I'd pay for what.
You wouldn't though, would you? It's probably
it's
hard.
You know what it is, I don't spar the lads in the gym with each other too much anyway, to be honest, because I like to try and create a team environment, and we've got a great atmosphere, great team bonding there, as you saw after Fabio's victory. So yeah, I try not to spar him too much anyway.
In terms of the other side of things, you're very analytical, you and Lee Wiley, in terms of the way you've brought a new side to boxing. How does he take that information? Is it easier being a younger fighter to take that information on board?
Yeah, look, I'm 100% honest, and it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
If you're not a thinking fighter and you've not got that composure to be able to take that information on board, go out there, process. He is a thinking fighter. He's able to process. As I was saying, he's able to come back and talk to you in the corner. I did this because I noticed that. When I was doing this, his response was that. Blah, blah, blah. So it certainly is for him. And yeah.
Anything planned tonight? Final one? Is it a massage? Is it just go back to the hotel and chill and have a little session?
He done a session earlier. He had a little massage earlier. So he'll probably go back, have some food, and then head to bed.
Ben, appreciate it. Good luck on Saturday. Thank you very much, Ben.
Thank you.
All right, let's remind you what we've got coming up throughout the week as well. Great to have Ben Davison. That insight there is good. That question about the heavyweights is an awkward one, isn't it? But I've always thought about it, especially because of Fabio as well. All right, tomorrow is the press conference. Friday, Box Raw Sparring Club. It was a good one. Remember the Queens, that fight card there? Same thing happened. Friday, weigh-in, and then Saturday, fight night. Remember, if you haven't bought it, it is pay-per-view. Just go to thezone.com/boxing to purchase this very, very intriguing fight card. We've got so much coming your way on the zone. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this, does it? We go to Belfast for Lewis Crocker versus Paddy Donovan 2. The extra caveat to that fight is that now that is an IBF welterweight title fight. Then we go to Scotland, Collins versus Laurenti, European title fight. Then no one would have predicted this a couple of weeks ago. It is happening, Dave Allen versus Arslanbek Makhmudov. And I think the best card this year, this Ring 4 card, Night of Champions, it's so good. Dalton Smith versus Cyril Matias ain't even on the fight poster, nor is the great Artur Beterbiev. That's coming up Saturday, November 22nd. Loads of boxing coming your way. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I enjoyed getting the insight from Ben Davison.
It's just
He's confident, very confident, isn't he? Not just about this fight, but about his charge full stop. Mentioning there, win-win fight and Usyk.
And then what I liked as well, he mentioned if it's a dogfight, it's a dogfight.
It just reinforces your opinion and your belief that he is the real deal, that he will go on to be potentially a great fighter. The fact that he processes his own information, comes back with questions. Well, fighters do, but you can see he's constantly thinking. And I mean, and with his work ethic as well.
What I like as well is that Ben Davison's had the two, Usyk obviously, but Fury and AJ. So he's had two very elite, top-of-the-tree heavyweights. Yeah. So he knows what a top-of-the-tree heavyweight looks like because he's had a couple. And you can see the glint in his eye when he talks about Moses Itauma because he's almost got a charge there if it goes right for the next 10 years.
Yeah, the attributes are there. He's seen more than we have, and that's so exciting because it's a division, the marquee division, where it's looking for its next star. He could be the man.
And I know there's missing pieces in jigsaw puzzles, and when you're a fighter and you find a trainer that perfectly fits you, that's the piece that sometimes makes the biggest difference, and they seem like they have that fit.
Indeed. There you go. We are going to hear from all the fighters tomorrow because tomorrow is press conference day. Should be fun as well. I have a feeling that Derek Chisora is going to turn up and start trouble with Dillian Whyte. I have a feeling David Adeleye is going to start trouble with Hergovic. The only way we can find out if that is true is by tuning in tomorrow for the press conference. We'll see you then.
I'm called the brightest prospect or whatever I'm called. It is just noise. It's just step by step, fight by fight. If you're gonna ask me like what's my plan in this division, it's to knock Dillian Whyte out, I guess.
Going in with somebody like Dillian, who's got a wealth of experience and at the top level and so forth, would be a really big test for him.
Today gonna say that you're the best, tomorrow might say you're the worst.
You know, I ain't got nothing to prove to no one. I'll appreciate the name.
Bye.